Well, it's now Saturday before the late May bank holiday, what used to be called Whitsun, although that had somewhat different dates. And I'm on Folly Bridge again. There's the Folly. And this is a big day for Oxford University because this is what they call Eights Week. An eight being a boat with 8 rowers plus a cox in it. There is a tradition known as Summer Eights, which is a kind of boat race. And I'm going to show you that now, assuming that I can actually get onto the towpath. The city is crowded because of the bank holiday, but the towpath to the Thames will be equally crowded because of all the rowers, coaches, instructors, marshals, stewards, and old boys and girls, alumni, who've come back, as is the tradition, to watch the races and meet current members of their colleges. So I'm standing next to Salters. I'm going to get onto the towpath now. Salters are busy as well, and so are Oxford River cruises. I can see one of theirs in the background. This walk may be rather jerky because I may have to get out of somebody or something's way quickly. I also seem to be having trouble with the tracking on this gimbal. It isn't as smooth as it should be, and I think there may be a mechanical problem. If so, I'll be very annoyed because I only bought it about 3 weeks ago. Notice how busy the bank on the other side, Christchurch Meadow Bank, is. We'll see even more people when I get down to the college boathouses on the left. They're on a piece of land that I've mentioned before, called Boathouse Island.
Boats is getting moorings. That's anyone can buy a boat. It's where you put it. But you have to buy all kinds of moorings from the river authorities.
Well, let's try again. The tracking on this is definitely something wrong with it. So I'm where I was a moment ago as far as you're concerned, and looking at the river between Folly Bridge and the college boathouses. This is the final day of what they call Summer 8. That is, it's the final day of the boat races, and it's probably the busiest that this stretch of the Thames will be. As I say, lots of alumni from the university will be coming back and meeting friends who are still here. And there'll be parties, bars open, picnics in many of the boathouses. I'll explain the races in a bit when I've seen how the crowds and my equipment go. I think I'm going to have to walk much more delicately than normal in order to avoid shaking this thing to bits.
Yes, after looking after the page when I don't know.
Yeah. It's been quite a lot from marathon. Yeah. I think the London marathon was 106.
Jeez, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I think considering how many entries they get for it.
Yeah, 40,000 entries.
Adds up, doesn't it?
But then they have to close a lot of London.
Well, that's true.
You have to pay for that. And all the support crews and all the barriers they have to put up. And all those people don't volunteer to marshal it.
I don't really get paid to do it.
Starting to open up during COVID.
The residential narrowboats are still here. You can see them right in front of me. There's another rowing 8, so called obviously because there are 8 people in it, plus the cocks. One of the things I've read is a Cox's manual, And that says that the main responsibility of the cocks is safety. And looking at how crowded the river is, you can believe it.
There's one that has lots of plants. I might move them.
I never understand all the things you find on the tops of narrowboats. Somebody ought to write a book on decluttering the narrowboat. It would be a success. Right, approaching Boathouse Island. And you can see how busy it is. You can see banners. Unless things have changed since I was at college, which I'm sure they haven't, the boathouses will still have bar space. That is somewhere to hook up beer barrels and store other alcoholic drinks. And they'll have roof space or balcony space for people to drink and watch the river. He's calling for Brasenose, and there'll be loads of people shouting good wishes to their colleges. Every college has its own heraldry, its own shield or crest, if you like, with heraldic symbols such as birds, carpentry tools, fleur-de-lis or whatever, and you'll see some of those on the boathouses. I'm going to avoid zooming as much as I can. I don't want to touch any of the controls and destabilise this thing, because I don't know how robust it is now. I guess some rowing crews are sponsored, hence the branded sports gear. Stuck between the crowds and a thorn bush.
No. Yes, yeah.
Banners everywhere. Double-decker boat houses, some of them. Notice that some boathouses will have crews just embarking or disembarking, landing or de-landing. Okay, I'm going to walk down a bit towards the university boathouse.
I mean, you want.
咁你下邊代可以出賽對劍橋啊，係嘛？因為佢出嗰個劍橋。我知啊嘛，放馬來就係。
There we have a rowing 8 that's currently upside down and being carried.
Announcing the results of men's Division 4. St. Hilda's, Boston St. Anthony.
Ouais, ça compte à le dire.
Royal 2, Boston St. Edmunds 4-2. Hartford 2, Boston Gauntlet 2. St. Peter's 2, Boston St. Catherine's 2. And all other crews rode over. Repeating the results of men's Division 4. St. Hilda's, Boston St. Anthony. Royal 2, Boston St. Edmunds 4-2. Hartford 2, Boston Gauntlet 2. St. Peter's 2, Boston St. Catherine's 2. And all other crews rode over. Race time is 2:34 p.m. You have 10 minutes if you wish to view the results of this mission.
So you've probably gathered this is a very professional affair, including a proper public address system. And the commentator there was reading out results of what's called a division, which is same sort of division, I suppose, same sort of breakdown as Football League. The races are divided into several divisions, each corresponding roughly to a level of skill or a position in the races overall. The higher the division, the greater the skill. So one division is rowed at a time, and the commentator mentioned two kinds of outcome. One was one college bumps another college, and one was rowed over.
He doesn't know about.
The point is that the river here is very narrow. Let me just get over this bridge. I'm still being very careful with the gimbal. I hope it hasn't broken. I was going to say you'll see some unusual dress.
Yeah, I wish otherwise all the photos are like.
Right, this is the Oxford University boathouse, the one that was rebuilt to replace a Victorian structure that burnt down. boathouses going up to the end of Boathouse Island over there. Looks as though somebody's having a barbecue in a tent. Marquee. Colleges flying their flags. Once upon a time, I think most of the non-rowers would have been wearing blazers, summer shirts and ties, but I don't see any remnant of that other than perhaps the hats. The blazers, of course, would have been in college colours, as they are for cricket, or were for cricket. Okay, well, let me get past this crowd and do a bit more explaining somewhere quiet.
It really is. Is it like a...
Yeah, so next year, if we stay in our position now.
The 5-minute gun for women's division 4 has been fired. In this division, we once again have 2 crews on blade one. That is keyboard crew and handbag crew. And we have 2 crews who are continuing their campaign. That is lifting crew and infrastructure crew.
I've just put on a COVID mask because it's so crowded that I think even with the current relatively low level, there's quite a risk. I'm going to try to make my way down the bank again, but I'm not sure whether I'll manage. I might have to go onto Abingdon Road and round.
Have quite a good lead.
The thing is that not only is the river very narrow, so is the towpath.
That's okay. Maybe 5 minutes. No, because you said Sarah, that's so different.
Good thing.
And you get like scouts.
Very good. See you later.
See you.
I'm going to go to the bigger half of this. Oh, right.
Has been fired.
So the trailing boat kind of watches for some of that, and then you kind of double check them.
Yeah, essentially, you see the boats are like this.
No, I think they swapped out. Well, like they definitely, because I didn't recognize them. Why? No, I ran them 10 on the fuel. You know what?
We hear that Oriole 2 may be about to bump Donnington 2 just after Donnington Bridge. Meanwhile, we hear that 1 and 2 may have bumped Lincoln 2 under Don Bridge. And we hear that Pembroke 2 may have overlap on Maudlin 2. And Maudlin 2 have conceded to Pembroke, we hear. And we hear that 1 and 2 may have bumped Lincoln 2.
That was part of the public address system.
We hear that Brasenose 2 may be a quarter of a length from Worcester 2.
Get out of its way. The plastic glass the lady was holding, you may not be able to see, but it contained fruit. It's a drink that's very popular in Oxford on nice days like this in the summer, called Pimm's.
We now see Maudlin 2 and Pembroke 2 clearing at the exit of the gut. We hear that Pembroke 2 have...
Strictly speaking, Pimm's number 1. There are various other mixes. I think for a time Pimm's number 1 was the only one available. You buy it, you don't make it. There used to be 6, I think. Then the number contracted. Maybe they've brought some of the others back. I think Pimm's is gin based. So it's basically sort of gin with some sweeteners and chunks of cucumber and orange and whatever chopped into it.
GTC! Come on! Go! Let's go, GTC! Come on! Go, GTC! Push together! Yeah! You have them! Let's go! Go, GTC!
The cox is the one who is sitting facing the others, and they have a repertoire of various phrases and types of phrase that they use to indicate problems with the rowing or things to do in a different way. I've got a cox's handbook which I'll link to in the video description if I remember. There's... can't see Lineker maybe. My gosh, that thing must be hot with all the fur. Now look at the spacing between the eights.
Should we run? No, I'm not running.
We're here at Harbour 2, continue to be Harbour length behind St John's 2. Have crossed the finish line. Denying Harbour 2 that impressive overall. And Harbour 2 have now also crossed the finish line.
Hello, you're right.
Today I left the boat and then they come back through, so I actually lost my seat range. No, some man didn't stop it.
My roommate had them and she was like, do you want them today? And I was like, I do actually. Please, thank you.
But I want to be right at the edge, but then I think I'm going to have
And it does come about.
If I win the Eurovision, I'm coming back and I didn't think she didn't notice. I saw it. Just watching her on
Okay, well, there's one or two of the blazers still around.
That's an outfit.
That was Hertford College Boathouse, which I've pointed to on previous walks. These are called long bridges. I mean, that's the name for this part of the river.
C'est oppressant, je suis enfermé.
Well, I've been doing tearing my own. I have
And then a 40% like saying that.
5 or 6 different 5 or 6 different.
I like your glasses.
We can go right before that. They've been asking him, like, oh, what are you going to do for Freshers Week? And he's like, I don't know.
Alright, okay. So I'll set that up on Monday.
I want to try it
local beer, and we have actions that you can take to help sort out the state of this river. I've lived in Oxford and Abingdon for 30 years. This river should not be brown. It should be green. That's the natural colour for this river. We have paid Thames Water to clean that river. So the question is, where has the money gone?
The thing is,
Right, in the distance, not him, in the distance is Donnington Bridge. I mention that because one of my viewers commented last night saying that in a video I'd called Thames Path to Donnington Bridge. I actually stopped a little bit short of the bridge and didn't see it, which the viewer wanted to see. So I also took this opportunity, I was going to come down anyway and video Donnington Bridge, especially for them.
They're being a bit cocky, so they went out thinking that they bumped Lineker. Lineker are actually really quite good, and Lineker managed to get over bump, which went to bump three places.
Right, so what I was saying about the races a long time ago, the river's very narrow round by the boathouses. So and Oxford now has something like 38 colleges or 40 colleges. The races were started in 1815, a few weeks before the Battle of Waterloo. I believe by two crews who found themselves at the wrong end of the Thames and just decided to have a bit of fun on the way back. Even when they were started, there were quite a lot of colleges. I'd guess around about 30. And if you assume that each college had just one boat, remember that most colleges, unfortunately, were male. No women's crews in those days. You still couldn't line them up side by side on the river, and even if you could, it wouldn't be safe. So what they did instead was to sort of stretch the race out in space and time. Instead of having all the boats side by side, you have one boat after the other, and the boat behind has to try to catch up the boat in front and bump it. So basically the boat behind is chasing the boat in front. If the boat behind manages to bump the boat in front, then it gets a bit of a promotion, and the boat in front gets a bit of a demotion. So that's the first stage. It's a bumping race, stretched out along the river to make room for itself. And then the second thing is that even with that arrangement, as races grew, the number of competitors grew, there wasn't enough space to fit everybody into the same division. So instead of just having one sort of snake of stretched out boats, you had two. They started off by splitting the one division into the two divisions, and then they gradually added divisions. Not sure how many there are now, but I think it's at least 4. And the divisions, as I said earlier, correspond roughly to skill level. Boats can be relegated, or whatever the opposite of relegated is, so they can move up and down between divisions if they find themselves at the bottom of one or the top of one. Obviously, right, this is Donnington Bridge. All sorts of stuff going on here. There seems to be some race organisation, and there's also a protest. Unite for Clean Water, which is the topic. This is Donnington Bridge, and to the viewer who wanted to see Donnington Bridge, this is Donnington Bridge from below. Hi. Sorry, I'm doing a series of Oxford walking tours. So this is Donnington Bridge from below. The Unite for Clean Water sign makes me nervous because protest in the UK has been criminalised. It's much easier to be charged for assorted obstruction offences and so on than it was last year. That's the path the long way round onto Donnington Bridge Road. This is Donnington Bridge underneath, and it used to have some very tasteful murals done by various rowing companies to indicate their triumphs. Now it's just graffiti. So I'm now south of Donnington Bridge, and the next significant location is Iffley Village. And I'm walking this far down because I'm very close. Whoops, there's a starting gun. Either starting gun or some sort of pre-start signal if they have one. Not sure which. I'm very close to the starting point of the races. Just, I think it's south of a region called Haystacks. So anyway, all the divisions start from here. Every division works in the same sort of way. Chain of boats going up the river and boats behind trying to bump boats in front. The boats have 8 rowers and a cox. You have to be quite delicate. At least when the boats were first made, a bad bump, you can actually go through the boat that you bumped. So you try to give it just the merest nudge. This may have improved with modern technology, I don't know. I have an idea that carbon fibre is involved now, but I haven't looked into the construction of modern 8s. This tradition will still be going in 1,000 years' time, so there's plenty of time to do so.
So coming forward on 30, the square, within the last 10 seconds.
Make sure you square, don't have to wait for them.
Yeah.
Top bung line steamer heading downstream.
Too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is in it? The side.
There's a rather nice nature reserve which you can visit whether or not Eights is going.
How this race works is this goes on the left, this goes on the right. This one here.
There seems to be something wrong with the tracking if I point too far left. Right, well the crews here are obviously waiting something, so let's see whether
Doesn't want to be photographed.
doesn't like the gun.
So it already ended, right? Because they bumped it.
So did we go right to the very end? I can't remember. Or did we having got order?
Well, so that was an entire division setting off. And
I've got it. It is 1520.
so this must be what, the second division probably.
Is it? I thought it was the first one, but I don't know. We just arrived.
Okay, because they finish round about 5:30.
Half past 5
Yes,
last week.
6. Thanks a lot.
So everyone was sort of concerned that it would be counted and they make
Right.
simply be bumps because they've went down.
So that is Donnington Bridge from the other side for the viewer who wanted to see it. And as I say, that was a division setting off. I'm going to stop talking about rowing now. I think I've explained how it works. And because of the problems with this thing, I'm going to end the video shortly too. I'm just going to walk down to Iffley Lock because it would be a shame not to show it now that I'm so close. It's a very easy walk from Oxford. It's only half an hour or so.
You can try that. That is your best bet.
Those guys look like professional cyclists. I mean, cyclists who do it for sport. I'd have thought choosing a rather less crowded bit of the countryside than this path on Saturday of Eights week would be a good idea.